I'm joined now by Yitzhak Levanon, a veteran diplomat and Israeli peace negotiator who served as Israel's top envoy to Cairo. Ambassador, so happy to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So President Sisi has been working tirelessly on parallel tracks toward a long-term truce. The first, of course, between Israel and Hamas, and then, of course, between the Palestinian factions in the West Bank and Gaza. Which track do you believe is most likely to suffer, given the intra-Palestinian intransigence and, of course, the latest escalation that we're seeing that any moment could erupt into wider war?
By the way, it's not only Sisi. Before him, we have seen Mubarak doing the same thing, trying, to solve the issues between us and Hamas, even Morsi from the Muslim Brotherhood. But look, I think that we are facing here a situation where we have four pillars. The one is Sisi, Egypt. The second is Israel. The third is the Palestinians, divided between Abu Mazen and Hamas. And the fourth pillar is the United Nations. Everybody is trying to solve the situation in Gaza in order to reach one objective: stability, tranquility. That's it.
This is what,
this is what Egypt is trying to do. Because Egypt believes that if she can reach stability in Gaza, she can reach stability, relative stability, in northern Sinai and its fight against ISIS terrorism. The second point, Israel believes if there is stability, it's good for all the people living surrounding the Gaza Strip. The United Nations can score one more point in solving some kind of issue.
All right.
The problem is between the Palestinians.
So you think the Palestinian track is the most likely to suffer despite all the efforts at the Gaza border?
Well, I will give you my own observation on that. I believe that there is a huge difference between the people living in the Gaza Strip and the people living in the West Bank. This is something which goes, historically. Several
Even
reasons. Culturally, anthropology, the way of thinking, from where they came, how they think, and more than anything else, the people in the West Bank, they overlook the people in Gaza, and the people in Gaza don't like it. But the situation is that after 10 years, we have something which is quite an independent entity in Gaza, which is the
sovereign entity.
They are ruling the country, they are ruling the situation, they are controlling everything. And on the other hand, the Palestinians and Mahmoud Abbas don't have the capacity to control or to come back to this peace, to this area. So we have here a problem between themselves. Hamas doesn't want to see the Palestinian Authority coming back to Gaza.
And disarming and handing over their weapons to the PLO. Right.
Abu Mazen says, without that, I'm not going to give my consent to anything.
Right.
And this is where we are.
Let's move it back to the escalation that we're witnessing now. And our viewers must know that by the time this show airs, we may be seeing Israel and Hamas in another war that neither side wants. But assuming that events can be contained, what do you think is motivating this latest flare-up?
Using force is a language. It's a complementary way for diplomacy. This is how you show the other side what is your desire.
A form of diplomacy by other means.
Yes. So everyone, every side is using that.
Right.
We are using that. And the Hamas is using that. The issue is that everybody now is working on a kind of an agreement, which can be reached if everybody has this desire. And this is where the Egyptians and the United Nations are working very hard. The estimate is, according, to the difficulty, the complexity, and the problems, the estimate is that by the end of this month, in 2 weeks from now, we have to know exactly if we'll reach that agreement or definitely it's going to blow up. So we still have 2 weeks, and in these 2 weeks, unfortunately, we can see ups and downs.
Now, you continue to keep a firm finger on the pulse of what's happening in Egypt.
Yes.
Can you tell us about this growing frustration, even anger in Cairo directed at President Abbas? And as far as President Sisi is concerned, is he irrelevant? Has he become irrelevant?
Sisi is not irrelevant. On the contrary, I think...
No. Does Sisi consider Abbas irrelevant?
Not yet. But he's on his way to reach that conclusion. Not yet. Look, Sisi has a clear policy. He is supporting all the requests and demands of the Palestinian Authority completely in terms of a solution with Israel.
Right.
State, independent state, East Jerusalem capital, whatever. Secondly, Sisi has an account, an old account with the Hamas. But he's putting this account on the side because he would like to reach that stability. Third, Sisi is doing all its effort, and this is why we have seen that there is a delegation, huge delegation of Hamas in Cairo.
In Cairo right now. And Abbas is there, correct?
No, Abbas, it's Ahmad al-Ahmar. 2 days ago, somebody on behalf of Mahmoud Abbas is in Cairo.
Yes.
And this is why Sisi is trying to, let's say, to reconciliate, to mediate between Abbas and Hamas in order to have one Palestinian position in front of Israel and reaching that solution. So far, he's not succeeding.
Do you envision a point when he's going to give up? It's just not worth his while?
He will have no choice than to give up. There is no chance that the reconciliation will happen between Hamas and the Palestinian. There is an abyss between themselves in their positions. It's completely contradictory. You know, the objective, the agenda of Hamas is completely opposite to the agenda of the
This is very interesting what you say, that the abyss is deeper between the Palestinians than it is with Israel and Hamas.
Yes, this is why I think a day will come, I don't know when, that the people, including Israel and everybody else, including Egyptians, will start to speak about 3 states for 2 people.
Wow. Let's move. That's very, very important. Let's move it on to Israeli-Egyptian strategic cooperation, which is stronger now than ever before. Israel has helped the United States revive security assistance to Egypt that was halted as a result of the purge of the Muslim Brotherhood. And Israel has repeatedly agreed to amend the Camp David Annex that allows for Egypt to have more troops and weaponry in the Sinai. So given this close cooperation, do you expect Sisi to support Israel and this deal of the century that's being cooked from the Trump White House, despite Trump's claims, the declaration of Jerusalem as Israel's capital?
Look, candidly speaking, I think that there is an excellent relationship today between Israel and the Egyptians on the military and the intelligence level. But this is only one leg of the relationship. There is the second leg missing. So when you are standing on one leg only, it's not stable.
You're referring to public opinion?
I'm referring to bilateral relations. We don't have trade, tourism, culture, visits,
because of public opinion on the Egyptian street.
Because of the decision of the Egyptian authorities since Mubarak's time. Nothing is new. Yes, there is an opinion, not all the opinion, but there is an opinion which don't like, to have any relations with Israel. But finally, it is a political decision taken by Cairo, by the authorities. So we don't have this second leg, and it is not stable to the long term. Now, it's okay. If this one leg will bring Sisi to accept, let's say, all the proposals coming from the Americans, I doubt it.
But you're saying that with an order, he can change this policy?
Order and showing or leading the way. The Egyptians, the regular Egyptians, look always up to his leader. And he looks what the leader is doing. If the leader is doing, suppose, for instance, that Sisi will come and visit officially Israel. This will change everything. If we have good relations, come and visit Israel, or invite Bibi Netanyahu to Cairo.
Or if there was some kind of a moderation on the part of the Israeli government that would justify such a bold move on Sisi's part.
Well, Sisi can always say, I'm coming to the parliament, I'm coming to Israel, I'm going to talk with the Israeli leadership in order to move on or to promote a solution. Yes, he can do that, but he's not taking this decision.